Dan Illman, Mike Beer, Grade 1 Stakes action on the Belmont Stakes undercard. Race number 4, we're going a mile on the Widener turf. It's the Just a Game for fillies and mares. You can bet it with a DRF Bets account. Better still, you get a 10% exacta winners bonus all Belmont Stakes Racing Festival long. Every race at Belmont, Thursday through Saturday. Get that 10% exacta winners bonus. Mobile users only. Bets.drf.com. Here's the field for the Grade 1 Just a Game. Hey, Chad Brown's very well represented with the 4-5 morning line favorite, the number 4 Rushing Fall. All Rushing Fall has done is win 7 of 8. The only loss came by a neck in the Edgewood when she moved real early into a very hot pace and ran very, very well. There is a case to be made that she could be 8 for 8 in her career. Now, her last 2 races at Keeneland, the Jenny Wiley, the QE2 Cup, she was just able to get to a nice, easy lead, control the pace. And when you let a horse with this ability get that kind of trip, they're going to be hard to run down.
Yeah, they were never going to beat her in those last 2 races after she got loose on the lead. You know, I'll just admit it right now at the top. I have not given this filly the credit she deserves. I've tried to beat her for, I don't even know why. As I look at her PPs now, I don't even know why I keep trying to beat her. But I have, and she keeps making me pay for it. Yes, she's gotten loose on the lead in 2 straight races, but she does not need that trip to run her race. You can ride her however you want to ride her, and she will run every time. And she's already a 3-time Grade 1 winner. And she is, this is a good field, Dan, but she is way the horse to beat.
The reason you try to beat her is you don't like chalk on your suit. That's one thing.
That's part
2 is, I agree with everything you said in that she can rate. I think her Lake Placid was one of her better races, where she just sat off another horse, attacked on the turn, and it was as easy as pie the way she won that race. Timeform US says it's going to be more similar to the last 2 races. Yeah. As we take a look at the pace projector, they've got Rushing Fall out there on the early lead. Blue bar, that means Rushing Fall, unless someone decides to go with her early, is going to be real tough to catch.
Yeah, they're just going to have their hands full with her in here. And again, she doesn't need that trip to win, but when you give it to her, she's just super tough to run down.
Caplet Temptress was privately purchased, I believe, by Juddmonte Farms over the winter, and her first start was a tough spot. That was the Grade 2 Distaff Turf Mile, a race that kind of fell apart late, and she was part of the pace. Were you surprised that she was that aggressively ridden by Joelle? I'm willing to take that race with several grains of salt. I think that with that race under her belt, she can improve, and you've always liked this mare. I think she's going to run a lot better, and 20 to 1's a great price.
I was very surprised the way that she was ridden last time. First start off the layoff and first start for these connections. I don't know if that was the plan or not, but they just sent her up the inside. She contested the pace. You know, you could tell she was never going to win, but it's not like she just totally gave it up in there. It wasn't a horrible performance. I still go back to that Lake Placid. You know, she was never going to beat Rushing Fall that day, but she ran a deceptively good race that day, I thought. This filly's better than she may appear to be on paper.
The number 7 is Got Stormy, going out for the red-hot Mark Cassie barn. And early in this filly's career, Cassie was very content just to find spots where she would fit, where she could win. She has tested this one as a 4-year-old.
Yeah.
First in the Jenny Wiley 2 starts back, where she just couldn't make up with the deficit that Rushing Fall had. Rushing Fall had too much of a tactical advantage. Last time out in the Distaff Turf Mile, I thought Tyler gave her a great ride, where he didn't really lose that much ground. He came from off with a pace. He made the front. The problem is the last run was the best run in that race.
Yeah, she got a really nice trip in that race, but she also really ran. I mean, she took that race over, and there was a point about mid-stretch where you felt like, well, she's going to win this race. And then, you know, Bo Recall came and ran her down, but she ran well in there. I thought her Jenny Wiley was also really good. Just one of those situations where she got another good trip. She took a big run at Rushing Fall on the stretch, and Rushing Fall just sort of turned her away. So now she fits off of those last 2 races. Now the question is she going to be able to finally beat a field like this? Because it's not like she really had to overcome anything in those last races. She got really good trips both times. Will she get another good one, and will she finally get there first?
Brad Cox has turned around the career of the number 3 Bo Recall, who is always solid at Santa Anita for Simon Callahan, but this mare's won 3 of 4 for Brad Cox, beat 4 of these common rivals in that Distaff Turf Mile. Now that Distaff Turf Mile, again, that pace fell apart. She came from last. She looked good winning it. It's going to be a different scenario here, trying to come from last in a blue bar scenario against Rushing Fall.
Yeah, we'll see if the race, sets up well enough for her in this race. I liked her last race a lot. I thought she did look good winning it, and she actually closed that race down relatively easily. It's not like she had to work that hard to do it. So does that really signal that Brad Cox just has her, better than ever, or is that just, the one race where things, set up the right way for her because she needs a pace like that, and she sort of took advantage? I'm not actually sure how I feel about it. I would suggest that if she was going to be that 4-1 or so around there, I'm going to take the tack that she's just the same old Beau recall, and she's going to need a setup.
The 6 is Environs, and we were both very impressed with her North American debut at Keeneland back on April the 5th for Chad. I think you were expecting a little bit more in the Distaff Turf Mile. She was kind of a wise girl horse in the race at 4-1. What happened that day? She got the setup.
Yeah, I don't know. She didn't break that great in the race, which I guess isn't a huge surprise, but she didn't break. She really did appear to travel really strongly. I mean, she was under a pretty good pull early, but it felt like she was making her way into the race around the turn, and then she just didn't really kick that hard in the stretch. I sort of wonder if she's here to race on firm ground, and forget about what it says in your PPs. I don't know why they don't change that. That was not a firm turf course. I wonder if she just really wants firm, and that really compromised her, because going back to, I know it was only an allowance race, Dan, at Keeneland. She was super in that race, and I feel like she fits really well in this race. You might get a much better price this time. Pulling 10 pounds from, if you care about that, pulling 10 pounds from Rushing Fall in here. This horse is going to run better in this race.
No, I think that that's a very good point that everyone should take into consideration, that turf course was less than firm, despite the listing in your daily racing form. Belle is rock solid for Todd Pletcher. She won the Grade 3 Marshua's River 3 starts back. I kind of think that's what she is, a Grade 2, Grade 3 type. The Marshua's River, she did some work. I thought Javier found all the right holes that day, saving ground, altering course out, back to the inside. Everything worked out well. Last time out in the Jenny Wiley, I'll give her that race, because again, there was no pace, and she's trying to come from far back. The Honey Fox was probably, I think, indicative of her best effort, and I think that falls a little bit short.
Yeah, I think it probably does too. I mean, she didn't get fully clear in that race. I mean, I feel like she had a little bit of a trip that day, but I wonder how much more she has to give. She just wasn't, the Jenny Wiley, it didn't set up great for her, but she was never competitive in there, so it makes you wonder if she's really a Grade 1 horse. But Pletcher has certainly gotten her better.
Perhaps you and I are just chasing our tail with our top selection in the Grade 1 Just the Game, because we've been following Daddy as a Legend for a while, hoping that one of these days she gets some luck. She's one of the most unlucky horses in all of racing. I mean, go back to that Appalachian in 2018 where she was off 3 lengths slow, and then she went 5 wide on the turn, and she almost got to Rushing Fall. And then in the Edgewood, she made this big mid-race move into the teeth of the pace, and she almost got past Rushing Fall. And then the Lake George, she had to alter course sharply up the inside, and she got it done. And it looked like, okay, Daddy's a Legend's going to get some luck. The Matriarch, she made the front. She got run down from behind by Uni in a race where the pace fell apart. The Distaff Turf Mile was a race. It was her first start off a long layoff. I think all things considered, it was a good setup. She galloped out well after the fact. I'm worried about this pace scenario, that she gets another unlucky situation, but I think she is a talented filly that might be coming to peak form in her second start as a 4-year-old.
I mean, listen, I don't have anything to add to it. She's a talented horse. She can be her own worst enemy at times. She just causes, she's had a lot of
we didn't talk about when she went through the rail.
Yeah, I mean,
she was going to win that race.
She was going to win the Valley View. She went right through the rail for some reason. There have been races where she just doesn't break at all. And she's just compromised her own chances a lot. But when and that's why you have to get a price on her. You can't take a short price on her, because she's too hard to trust. But when she runs her best race, you already know she can go with these horses. She gave Rushing Fall all she wanted a couple of times last year. This filly's good. I think she needed that race off the layoff last time. She's another horse where I feel like getting back on firm ground is going to help her. She can go with these horses. If she's around that 6-1, I'm betting.
I think 5-6-1 is fair on Daddy as a Legend. Mike's going 1-4-6-7. I'm going 1-3-4-7 in the Grade 1 Just a Game. Race number 4 at Belmont on Belmont Stakes Saturday. Take advantage of that 10% exacta winners bonus all week, every race at Belmont Park. Use your DRF Bets mobile device, bets.drf.com for all the terms and conditions. Approximate post time for the Just a Game is 1:22 Eastern on Saturday. Best of luck.